In this tutorial, we're gonna be building a machine that we can later use to draw circles of different sizes and different locations. I'll repeat what I just said, but instead of saying building, I'll say defining, and instead of saying machine, I'll say function, and instead of saying using, I'll say calling. So one more time. In this tutorial, we're gonna be defining a function that we can later call to draw circles of different sizes in different locations. With that being said, let's get started. Think of a function as a machine. To build a machine, we need to add components to it. Similarly, to define a function, we need to write some code. But for now, we're going to replace the code with some graphics, just to get an abstract idea of how things work. After adding all the required components, it's time now to add a switch to the machine or the function. And it's time now also to give it a name. Let's turn this machine on and off many times just to see how it works. Well, all what this machine does is drawing the same circle in the same location every single time we turn it on, which is not so useful. It's actually a bit boring. So how about providing or giving this machine some information, some input, based on which the machine or the function will draw the circle differently when we turn it on. The data or information that we give to the machine or the function is called input or parameters or arguments. There is actually a slight difference between these terminologies, but in this tutorial I'll be mainly using the word parameters. Now I'm going to give or pass some data, some input, some parameters to the function and see how it works. That looks really good. Now I'm going to pass or give my machine or my function some new parameters and see how my machine or my function would act accordingly. Great. That is way better than before, because now it is more versatile. We can use this function to draw different circles of different sizes in different locations. Another good example is the coffee machine. This coffee machine would make a big cup of coffee if I press on the large button. And if I press on the small button, then the coffee machine would make a small cup of coffee. That's pretty much what a function is. A function is nothing but a machine that would act based on the input, the parameters that we provide. The real definition of a function is simply a chunk of code that we can use many times to perform a specific task based on the input or the parameters that we provide. So a function can be reused and called multiple times, and hence functions help us to keep our code dry. Dry stands for don't repeat yourself. Not only that, but functions also make our code more readable and easier to understand. Now that we have a pretty good idea what functions are, when to use them and how to use them, it's time now to jump into coding. In this project, to draw circles, I'll use the pen extension. The pen extension allows us to draw using sprites. I'll use the pencil sprite to draw circles in this project. You can choose whatever sprite you like, but it just makes a lot of sense to use the pencil. To create or define a function, we need to select the My Blocks section and then click on Make a Block. Then we need to give our function a good name. As mentioned before, this function will be used to draw circles. But how do we actually programmatically achieve that? To explain and clarify this concept, I'll use the Paint software. Well, we need to send the pencil to a specific location. Then pen up, move radius steps, pen down, pen up, turn 1 degree to the right, go back to the origin, one more time, pen up, move radius steps again, pen down, pen up, turn 1 degree, go back to the origin, and we're going to repeat that 360 times until we have a complete circle. Alright, now we just need to translate this concept from English to code. Let's give that a shot. Okay, that is not working. And the reason for that is that we create the function, we define the function, but we never called it. Well, to use a function, we have to call it. So to call a function, we just need to select my blocks and drag and drop the function that we created. That doesn't really look great because unfortunately Scratch misplaced the pencil, the custom of the pencil. So I'm going to accurately replace it and I'm going to give it a shot again. That looks way better. One important thing that I still want to clarify is running functions without refreshing the screen. So the only difference is when you run a function without refreshing the screen, you're gonna only see the end result. It just means no animation. In this tutorial, I'm gonna be running the function with some animation. So I'm gonna run the function with refreshing the screen. Alright, it's time now to add some parameters to our function to make the function more versatile. So I'm gonna add the XY coordinate and the radius. Alright, now we need to replace the fixed values that we have in the function with the parameters, with the value of the parameters that we passed to the function. We can actually see now that the function renders the circle differently based on the arguments or the parameters that have been passed to it. And I think we're pretty much done implementing our function. Well, to make this project a bit more fun, I'll add two buttons. One to draw a small circle in a different location on the screen, and the other button to draw a big circle, again in a random location on the screen. Since the rest of the video is almost beyond the scope of this tutorial, I'll speed it up, I'll be quiet now and let you enjoy the rest of the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.